time right here on the show that shakes the Southland. Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan hanging out with you. Looking forward to catching up with my buddy, Luke Winstel. Not lying to you. My man covers recruiting in the state of Georgia better than anybody. You don't believe me? This guy is tuned in, dialed in, going to high school games, talking to coaches. I mean, he is all over the state of Georgia, always getting it done. And he joins us on a Friday afternoon as he's getting ready to go out to the high school football fields. But first, without further ado, Luke, I gotta say, man, the situation with the Atlantic Coast Conference, dude, it is wild. It is really wild. Give me your thoughts on the news that broke earlier today.
Well, gosh, I woke up to it. I know we've been talking about it for a while. I know you mentioned it on the show, and it was one of those that I woke up, I said, okay, I heard they were meeting last night. So we got the official notification. And the thing to me is I understand football and, you don't mind flying and going some different places, but I just think about the other sports, especially a school like Stanford that can be known for their other sports and what they do there. So it's like, man, how are you going to have, let's say women's soccer, for example, how are you going to have them on a Wednesday night fly over to Georgia Tech and back? And, I'm sure these things are being discussed as we go along, but that was my first thought of like, okay, I mean, football can go cross country, but the other stuff, I say, wow, that really is wild.
Yeah, no, it is. And I think that's going to be one of the issues that ends up forcing the conversations about regionalizing college football again and kind of taking it back to what it was, but maybe splitting the revenues differently. I said this earlier, I wrote it as well about SMU. It really does feel like they were just trying to grab onto a life raft, if you will, right? And just hoped that they could land anywhere, kind of keep their head above water. And by getting in the ACC and taking a deal where they're not going to earn any revenue for 7 seasons, I think speaks volumes to that end point.
Absolutely. And that was the thing. I mean, I guess you really did get to see firsthand my first reaction. I texted you. I said, how in the world 7 years of no revenue? I was like, Lawton, take me through that because, I may not be Warren Buffett or anything, but I can understand that, financially that is something that you don't see very often. So I was like, man, take me through. How do they do that? So that really was a thing that I didn't expect that, but desperate times, I guess.
Well, do you find it ironic, though, that Notre Dame, was – I think they even had a statement that they put out at some point. Maybe it was Jack Swarbrick. Somebody in their institution put out that, it was hard to imagine that a program as esteemed as Stanford and a university like that could find itself on the outside looking in. And yet Notre Dame, Luke, in my mind, is that same program – right? I mean, they're esteemed and this, that, and the other, and they're on the outside looking in. Why wouldn't they have also joined to just take the conference to 18 teams?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, even numbers are a lot more fun to work with, I think. But for Notre Dame, I get it. The TV contract's so big. I have to wonder if we get into a situation where, you have to be in a conference to get in this or this in the playoff, and then maybe the at-large spots are hard to come by and those kinds of things where maybe it makes so much sense that they have to make a deal and have to say, okay, but right now, shoot, if you're Notre Dame, you got that TV contract. I don't know why you'd give up that money because I think the ACC last numbers I checked were not, as much as what Notre Dame's getting on their own deal. So, from that perspective, I kind of see it, but there's a point where as someone, helping cover Clemson with you and looking at the ACC picture from our perspective and our point of view, it's like, man, just hop in the conference and make it a whole lot easier. We're already playing you anyways.